It is a continuation on environmental scanning report of Group 1. I will be discussing the following. So, in environmental scanning, we have needs analysis, external organization analysis, internal organization analysis, competitor analysis, and structural analysis. Needs analysis, internal and external. The internal environment offers strengths and weaknesses to business, while the external environment brings opportunities and threats. In order to analyze and understand the external and internal business environments, organizations turn to SWOT analysis, an acronym for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The idea is simple. The strengths and weaknesses of an organization are matched with the threats and opportunities of the environment to formulate an effective strategy. In order to create an effective strategy, it is important that the organization capitalizes on the opportunities by using its strengths. Also, it must avoid the threats by reducing the impact of the weaknesses. As you can see on the figure of elements of SWOT analysis, using strengths, these are the aspects of an organization that make it better than its competitors. Then you are minimizing impact of weaknesses. These are the areas where the organization needs to improve to remain competitive in the industry. Next is capitalizing opportunities. These are the external factors that can help an organization in gaining competitive advantage. And then you are neutralizing threats. These are the factors which have the potential to cause harm to an organization. A SWOT analysis helps an organization identify its core strengths and weaknesses, as well as opportunities and threats, and create a strategy to achieve success. There are two possible overarching referents for needs analysis. First is one which looks at needs from the point of view outside of the organization doing the study or the external needs analysis. Another is the one which looks at needs from within that organization or internal needs analysis. So that are the two possible overarching referents for needs analysis. Next is the external organization analysis. The external needs analysis is suggested as a balanced and reasonable starting place for organizational effort in that it studies and identifies the skills, knowledge, and attitudes which are important outside of the organization and uses that information as the basis for organizational design and effort. The external analysis takes a look at the opportunities and threats existing in your organization's environment. Both opportunities and threats are independent from the organization. The following area analyses are used to look at all external factors affecting a company. First, we have the customer analysis. It includes the segments, motivations, and also the unmet needs. Next is competitive analysis. It should be identified completely, put in strategic groups, evaluate performance, image, their objectives, strategies, culture, cost structure, strengths, and weakness. Next is market analysis. It includes overall size, projected growth, profitability, entry barriers, cost structure, distribution system, trends, and key success factors. And then, the environmental analysis. It includes technological, governmental, economic, cultural, demographic, scenarios, information need areas, and its goal is to identify external opportunities, threats, trends, and strategic uncertainties. Next is the internal organization analysis. The internal needs analysis goes from that point forward to identify internally useful and worthy goals, objectives, methods, and means to meet those required and desired outcomes. The following area analyses are used to look at all internal factors affecting a company. First is the resources. It includes profitability, sales, product quality, brand associates, existing overall brand, relative cost of this new product, employee capability, and product portfolio analysis. Next is the capabilities and goal. It is to identify internal strategic strengths, weaknesses, problems, constraints, and uncertainties. The internal analysis of strengths and weaknesses focuses on internal factors that give an organization certain advantages and disadvantages in meeting the needs of its target market. These strengths refer to core competencies that give the firm an advantage in meeting the needs of its target markets. And weaknesses refer to any limitations a company faces in developing or implementing a strategy. Most current effort in needs analysis is of the internal diversity, and it is strongly insisted that this referent be increased with external needs analysis data and information. Next is the competitor analysis. So what's this competitor analysis? Competitor analysis in marketing and strategic management is an assessment of the strengths and weaknesses of current and potential competitors. This analysis provides both an offensive and defensive strategic context to identify opportunities and threats. Competitor analysis is a critical aspect of this step. First is identify the actual competitors as well as substitutes. Next is assess competitors' objectives, strategies, strengths and weaknesses, and reaction patterns. And then, select which competitors to attack or avoid. So these are the critical aspects of competitor analysis. To make your analysis truly useful, it's important to pick the right competitors to analyze. To know which aspects of your competitor's business are worth analyzing. Then to know where to look for the data. And to understand how you can use the insights to improve your own business. So why do you need to do competitor analysis? So these are the reasons. It can help to develop or validate your unique value proposition. Prioritize your product development by focusing on the aspects of competitors' products customers value the most. It helps also to improve your product by capitalizing on competitors' weaknesses customers complain about. It helps also to get benchmarks to measure your growth against. It helps also to uncover market segments that aren't fully served by competitors. And lastly, it helps to create a new product category by identifying gaps between what your competitors offer and what the customers need. So these are the importance of competitor analysis. So next is the structural analysis. Structural analysis comprises the set of mechanics theories that obey physical laws required to study and predict the behavior of structures. It is also a science that ensures the structures are safe and fulfill the functions for which they were built. Safety requirements must be met so that a structure is able to serve its purpose with a minimum of cost. Structural analysis is a powerful tool for early determination of detectability or isolability possibilities. Structural analysis can be divided into three parts. First, establishing the design load. Second is defining the acceptance criteria. And conducting the strength assessment. So those are the three parts of structural analysis. Next is the evaluation procedures. There are 4 phases in the evaluation cycle. So we have the planning. Second is the implementation. Third is the analysis and reporting. And lastly, the action and improvement. So let's discuss about these 4 phases. So first, let's discuss about the phase 1, the planning. We have 5 steps in planning. First is build a program logic model. A logic model can serve as a framework for your written evaluation plan. It can help you focus your evaluation by identifying the question want or need answered, aspects of program to evaluate, type of evaluation design, information to collect, measures and data collection methods, and evaluation time frame. Second step is define purpose and scope. Each evaluation should have a primary purpose around which it can be designed and planned. Why is the evaluation being done? What do you want to learn? How will the results be used or by whom? Additional things to consider are specific program requirements and resources available to carry out the evaluation. Third step is budget for an evaluation. The common cost categories are the study design. It includes the type of study design, the size of the study, the level of expertise and experience of the evaluator, and data collection expenses. Another categories are the staff time, materials, equipment and supplies, travel, and data collection. Fourth step is select an evaluator. An evaluator is an individual or team of people responsible for leading the evaluation. The potential options for an evaluator include an external source like consulting firm, college or university personnel, or independent consultant. And an internal source are program staff member or members. A key decision is whether to use an internal staff member or to rely on an external evaluator. The factors to consider when making this decision are purpose of the evaluation, staff workload and expertise, program resources, and specific program requirements, and may consider also a hybrid approach. The last step in planning is develop an evaluation plan. An evaluation plan is a written document that describes how you will evaluate your program. It explains the program model being evaluated, provides detailed instructions for the evaluation, and describes and justifies the evaluation approach selected. The next phase for the evaluation is the implementation. Implementation phase has 2 another steps. First is collect data. The data collection includes what type of data meets your evaluation needs. It's either existing data or the new data. The existing data includes the internal program data and external data sets or administrative data, while the new data are the primary data. It came from the surveys, assessments, interviews, and observations. The data may be quantitative or qualitative data. The second step in the implementation is also important to continually monitor progress. We need to maintain communication throughout the project and also provide support and feedback as needed. The next phase in evaluation is analysis and reporting. In this phase, we have two steps. First is analyze data. In analyzing data, we have quantitative data analysis or qualitative data analysis. We need to consider two questions. First is what conclusions about the research questions can be drawn from the data that had been analyzed. And second, what does the data suggest about the program's theory of change? Next step is communicate findings. When reporting findings, it is important to report positive as well as negative findings. Present also results that are not necessarily conclusive but show premise and warrant further examinations. And be careful not to overstate your findings. The last phase is action and improvement. This is the last step of evaluation. Apply findings and feedback for program improvement. Evaluation findings can support these decisions and actions. First is program improvement or assessing fit. Second is building the evidence base. Third is scaling. And lastly, implementing change. So that's our the evaluation procedures. And next is the analysis procedures. Step 1 is define your questions. In your organizational or business data analysis, you must begin with the right questions. Questions should be measurable, clear, and concise. Design your questions to either qualify or disqualify potential solutions to your specific problem or opportunity. Step 2. Set clear measurement priorities. This step breaks down into two sub-steps. First is decide what to measure, and second is decide how to measure it. Third step is collect data. With your question clearly defined and your measurement priorities set, now it's time to collect your data. As you collect and organize your data, remember to keep these important points in mind. Before you collect new data, determine what information could be collected from existing databases or sources on hand. Collect this data first. Determine a file storing and naming system ahead of time to help all task team members collaborate. This process saves time and prevents team members from collecting the same information twice. If you need to gather data via observation or interviews, then develop an interview template ahead of time to ensure consistency and save time. And keep your collected data organized in a log with collection dates and add any source notes as you go, including any data normalization performed. This practice validates your conclusions down the road. Next step is analyze data. After you collected the right data to answer your question from step 1, it's time for deeper data analysis. Begin by manipulating your data in a number of different ways, such as plotting it out and finding correlations or by creating a pivot table in Excel. A pivot table lets you sort and filter data by different variables and lets you calculate the mean, maximum, minimum, and standard deviation of your data. During this step, data analysis tools and software are extremely helpful. Last step is interpret results. After analyzing your data and possibly conducting further research, it's finally time to interpret your results. As you interpret your analysis, keep in mind that you cannot ever prove a hypothesis true. Rather, you can only fail to reject the hypothesis. Meaning that no matter how much data you collect, chance could always interfere with your results. As you interpret the results of your data, ask yourself these key questions. Does the data answer your original question? How? Does the data help you defend against any objections? How? Are there any limitations on your conclusions? Any angles you haven't considered? If your interpretation of the data holds up under all of these questions and considerations, then you likely have come to a productive conclusion. The only remaining step is to use the results of your data analysis process to decide your best course of action. By following these 5 steps in your data analysis process, you make better decisions for your business or government agency because your choices are backed by data that has been robustly collected and analyzed. With practice, your data analysis gets faster and more accurate, meaning you make better, more informed decisions to run your organization most effectively. So that's my report. So here are my references. Thank you so much.